So maybe getting back to the usual history after the outburst of yesterday. In the previous episode, I was crazy about something happening here. Fortunately, conclusion for today: the garbage disappeared. So at the very least, the guy took the garbage from the plants and the flowers, the irises. So I guess I hope they will recover, and it had an effect. Indeed, I don't know how. I mean, you don't have to do this often and be conflictual and go and say, "You motherfucker, do this and that," and because you get a kick in the teeth once in a while. In fact, it happened over the last 2-3 years. Right? It happened twice. I had arguments. Iar în ce mă, tâmpitule? He went off again earlier. I had to slap him because he's killing me eventually. I mean, if he's screaming and screaming and screaming, I can't stand it. It's in positive psychology studies have shown that you can't stand the noise. There's hedonic adaptation. We adapt to almost anything, except a few things: getting fired, losing someone dear. Even with that, we adapt. But there will be many out there who are, except for the psychopaths who feel nothing, who are very affected, and it takes a long time. Some don't never adapt to the loss of someone dear. In a way, maybe I'm in that category because I keep referring to this, and it will be in future episodes, inshallah. Eventually, as Manuel says in Faulty Towers in the series. So I keep referring to that time when I seem to think, if not now, for many years, that what a glorious period there was, and how wonderful the life would have been if we stayed together. But I don't know. Maybe there's more to that. Maybe one reason I do this is because I'm trying to understand myself, what happened, and some of the reasons for things happening or not happening. So a long digression. Coming from we adapt to things, but not the loss and noise. And this fucker here is noisy as hell. I mean, the irritation is reaching a climax, and maybe he has to go away. I mean, I don't know if we can find a place for him or something, or put him on a plane and have him released in the wild to scream his head off in the forests of Amazon. No, he wouldn't survive because he was born in captivity. He's not taken from the forest. He was born in Hungary, I think, as a breeder there, or whatever the name is. So anyway, maybe we continue with this love-hate relationship, because I love him sometimes and I hate him other times. So yeah, there's also in a classic of psychology, 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem, Nathaniel Branden. I guess he says something like, you have to take a stand for your self-esteem, like in the situation of yesterday. You see something shit on the street, a ton of shit. You should take a stand. I mean, I don't know if you have to ram your car into his car, or, I mean, not excessive. This is where the Aristotelian golden rule again comes into play. I mean, you have to find a balance between not saying anything. Yeah, so it's a pile of shit. And making it like it's the atomic bomb exploded. So, well, it had an effect. Termină, mă, tâmpitule, tâmpiților. And look what I brought to them. I mean, I kept carrying wood and branches for them to have something to do. But all they do is fuck my brains out. So, yeah, journalism with Radio Sweden. I went to the American embassy, and met the economic section chief. But let's speak a little of the mineriada, the descent of the miners, and the Stone Age around June 1990. That is more precisely 13th, 14th and 15th of June. These are dates that are in the history books for this country as important dates, very important dates, because it was unbelievable what happened. Inconceivable. Princess Bride. At that time I was learning to drive. Not yet with a license, but already able, because my sister pushed me, gave me lessons, and she brought me to the point where I could drive. The guy with the official driving school was trying to keep me still, to not allow me, not put me on the list for the exams or something. I don't know. He was causing some trouble because he saw me as a good client for some time. So I have him pass the exam and then lose his business, something like that. I'm not sure what his mindset was, but he was stalling, or more than that, being obstructionist. At about that time, I got a call. About that time, no, it was a month, maybe the beginning of May, in fact, because I know I had to wait for this guy to do something, and he looked like he disappeared with my money, which maybe he would have without some measures, if some measures were not taken. So Stefan Dascălescu, I worked with him on a tour. I mentioned 200 episodes before. No, I'm exaggerating, maybe 20. With Claire, when I met Claire, the one I thought maybe I would marry and get a British passport, move to Sheffield. But then with the revolution and new chances, new perspectives, money making, and quite a few options, quite enticing perspectives, business with Socrate and so on. It looked like a country opening up. Well, it's setbacks. Iliescu, the idiots with the Red Plague, the FSNA, the Red Plague. They have descendants now. We're voting next Sunday, 7 days from now. Against them, obviously. I hope they're gone for good. So, with Claire, it didn't happen. I was a bastard. On the other hand, would it have been better to go there and be disgruntled and be a disappointed, unhappy husband, and make her misery worse, or somehow, I mean, prolong the agony? Or initially, with the initial plan, maybe I expected to be grateful, to be happy in a free country, and to be grateful for her. We got along well, intimately, physically, as in bed. Not so much intellectually, because I can't even remember what her job was. She was not a university graduate, that's for sure. Has not read so much. She was a decent, kind girl, that's also true, but in terms of intellectual correspondence with this brilliant mind, I'm laughing at myself, that's not the case. I mean, maybe she was it wouldn't work because maybe she was better than me on so many levels, and you could read a few more books and still be, I don't know, an obnoxious idiot. So, and way inferior. Vezi mă ce faci pe acolo, mai strica mă, dă-te jos mă că ți-am adus lemne. So yes, Stefan says I'm going to Switzerland, I think he said. The car eventually was from Switzerland. I don't know if he said that or some other country. So his proposition was this: if you want, you give me some money, whatever you have, and I'll bring a card for you. And then I will also give you back some money you will give me as a loan, because I will do some business with it, something like that. The details are obscure. Anyway, it wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen the way he said. So what happened would be something like this. I gave him all I had to spare, which was a fortune in these days. I mean, I'm sure it is a fortune in many parts of the world, because this kind of money you will throw away only if you're the bourgeoisie, the middle class of America and the rich world. But otherwise, it is important. So it was something like $1,700. And I said this: look, there's $1,700 I can give you. And the car you say you will bring me, I'm happy with your offer. Thank you. It has to be half that amount, maximum, because I can't afford a car that is more than $1,800, $900. Okay, so that's the second hand, obviously, quite old for that money. But these were the days when the Dacia was everywhere on the road, with a bad reputation, with a reputation which made it for the joke, which was also for the Skoda, the Lada, cars made in the East. Dă-te mă jos și ajunge, dă-te jos, nu mai strica la acolo, gata, dă-te jos. Why do they have heating on the rear window of a Dacia Lada? To keep your hands warm when you push, because you had to push. I mean, the car would break down so very often. So he said okay. Eventually he wouldn't answer the calls. He was not home for more than a month. 6 weeks. 6 weeks into this thing. 6 weeks after he said. And anyway, he said, I'm going for a few days. We didn't have money at that point. Almost any of us. Well, the apparatchiks, those who would be rich today because they started with money and then they stole from the state. They took factories, they took whatever for a song. There's the mustachio fucker who is number 2, number 1 once in a while, and he's such a waste of space. But anyway, so yeah, in a few days I'm returning. 6 weeks after that, he was not returning. He never gave a call, a sign, an explanation. Right? When I reached him eventually late into the game, dă-te mă jos mă odată. Something happened, I will get back to you. I have the car, but it... So he would stall and action would have to be taken. The next episode, inshallah, tomorrow. If nothing else happens and I'm again moving into the odious present, wherein Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the notorious RBG, has died yesterday. May she rest in peace. And the idiot is already determined to have a replacement there, even if the Republicans, the cult of the idiot now, surely, When Obama nominated someone 8 months before the elections, wouldn't they said no, we have to wait for the elections. Now with a month before, they don't want to wait because of hypocrisy, of course, and vile, immoral, unethical stupidity.